Good morning to all our listeners, and welcome to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. Today is Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. Today is the 12th day of March 2021, and of course, welcome to Voices. I am your host, Devonne Cornelius. Good morning to all the hardworking people out there. If you are driving, take your time. Whatever you're doing, take your time, and welcome to another edition of Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Thank you so much for being a part of our program today. To all of you who have joined us via Facebook, thank you so much for joining, as well as YouTube and other social media platforms. For those of you who are interested in participating in our program, you can call us at 466-0989. The phone lines are not yet open, but I'm just giving you the numbers early so you can write down. The numbers are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. Also remember, we have the WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204, 662-2204. For those of you in the UK, you can call us at 033-344-0065. I'll repeat, 033-344-0065. For those of you in the United States, you can call us at 718-285-6984. And for those of you in Canada, you can call us at 305-921-4619. You are listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9 with your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. Let's take a break to say thank you to our sponsors. And when we return, we will continue our program.
For an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
When the star them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star with some gallopers. Over no we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spend. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Good morning and welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. Let me just apologize for the late start. Nevertheless, we are here and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our program today. When I was last here on Wednesday, we spoke about the vaccine, whether it should be made mandatory, and the claims that were made that there are some organizations and businesses that are asking or rather forcing their employees to take the vaccine or face termination, suspension, or whatever the case may be. Not just here, but we have received reports as well that it is happening across the region. And so that was the topic we had. And today, we're not going to really focus on that, but we're going to go into something else. There has been some concerns as it relates to the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and not just that vaccine, but generally vaccine. You know, since the onset of the pandemic, that was the much talked about topic. Everybody was racing. Everybody were racing to get the vaccine. When will the vaccine be ready? When will we be able to take the vaccine so that we could get back to a state of normalcy? And now a number of vaccines have been rolled out. We have the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, the Pfizer, Moderna, just to name a few. And so there are some people that are a bit curious and concerned because they some don't trust the process, and that is fine because everyone will not agree and everyone will not have the same opinion or sentiments. And there are some persons who are saying the vaccine is safe, take the vaccine. But we will always have mixed views on this topic because due to the how fast the vaccines were rolled out. And so there will always be mixed views. But I would say go out, do your research, speak to a medical professional, and they would be able to advise you on the vaccine. But do your research so you could understand more and, you know, check up on other countries. See what is happening in other countries, in the region, internationally, because the pandemic is not just affecting us here in the Caribbean. It's a global pandemic. And so we have to keep, you know, constantly monitoring the other countries and territories with as to how they're managing the pandemic, how are they doing with the vaccination process, the vaccination rollout. Now, I came across a BBC News article which says Oxford AstraZeneca EU says no indication vaccine linked to clots. Norway and Iceland paused their rollouts of the vaccine on Thursday. There is no indication that the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine is linked to an increased risk of blood clots, the EU's medicines regulator says. It said the number of cases in vaccinated people was no higher than in the general population. The statement came after a number of countries, including Denmark and Norway, suspended the use of the jab. The suspension followed reports that a small number of people had developed clots after receiving the vaccine. There were also reports that a 50-year-old man had died in Italy after developing deep vein thrombosis following a dose of the jab. Now, it says there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions, which are not listed as side effects with this vaccine, the European Medicines Agency said on Thursday. It said there had been 30 cases of thromboembolic events among the 5 million Europeans who have received the jab. What you need to know about the vaccine: why is the EU having vaccine problems? Europe in vaccine race to save summer. AstraZeneca said the drug's safety had been studied extensively in clinical trials. Regulators have clear and stringent efficacy and safety standards for the approval of any new medicine, a spokesperson said. In the UK, the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency said there was no evidence the vaccine had caused problems, and people should still go out and get vaccinated when asked to do so. Blood clots can occur naturally and are not uncommon. More than 11 million doses of the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine have now been administered across the United Kingdom, said Phil Bryan of the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency. The decision to temporarily suspend the use of the AstraZeneca's jab has come as a setback for a European vaccination campaign that has stuttered into life, partly due to delays in delivery of the drug. If you have been made aware of these reports that are making the round on social media, call us and give us your feedback on this topic, on this very sensitive issue. You can send us an email or you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204, or you can shoot us an email at Devonne at WINNmediaskn.com. That is DEVONNE at WINNmediaskn.com, or you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. It is very interesting, as of course there will be mixed views. A lot of information will be going around, but again, as I have been saying, it is a personal responsibility, not just to wear your mask, not just to wash your hands, not just to practice social distancing, but to be a part of the vaccination rollout process in encouraging people to go and get vaccinated. Of course, after you have been educated by the health experts, there are a number of COVID-19 town hall meetings happening and campaigns happening. And so I'm just encouraging persons to attend these campaigns and seek the relevant and accurate information. As I said, I remember when this thing first started, there was a lot of information going around about the vaccine won't hurt people who are older, it won't hurt people who are younger. And so there were a lot of mixed views. Everybody had their own opinion, which they are entitled to, but everybody had their own opinion. And so there was a lot of false information, a lot of information all over the place passing around. And so it was difficult for some to, pick out what was accurate and what was fake. And that posed a serious challenge, especially in the early stages of the pandemic. Now, countries all around the world are racing to get their population vaccinated, so that we could, they're saying, so that we could get back to a state of normalcy. Now, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, commented on the vaccine and some of these reports that she has been made aware of. And so we are going to say thank you to our sponsors one more time, and when we return, we will have a clip from Dr. Hazel Laws, the Chief Medical Officer. After that, we will take your calls and your question and your participation. Let us say thank you to our sponsors, and when we return, we will hear from Dr. Hazel Laws, our Chief Medical Officer.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Found the sound 99.9 WINN FM.
You need a drink, have a fever, fever. You want some fun, get a Viva, Viva. Taste the flavor, have a Viva, Viva. Oh yeah, Viva is the one. Say goodbye to boring. Let me hear you sing. Got to have my Viva, whatever, so much better.
Viva Sparkling Flavored Water. Water, but better.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. We'll now have this clip by Dr. Hazel Laws, the Chief Medical Officer.
Can I take the vaccine? Yes, you can. If you have asthma, you are a candidate for the COVID-19 vaccine. If you have heart disease, if you have kidney disease, if you have arthritis, if you have any of these chronic medical conditions, and this list is not exhaustive, okay? So if you have any questions, just call your regular physician, just, get that nod of approval, and then you can go to the nearest health center to access this vaccine. And some persons are asking, I am taking aspirin, ASA, 81 milligrams or 325 milligrams. I've been doing so for months, years. Can I take this vaccine? Yes, you can. And so a number of persons on the diagnosed with these chronic medical conditions, you are taking medication, antihypertensive, anti-diabetic medication. Yes, these are not contraindications for taking the vaccine. So feel free, if you want to back check with your regular doctor, once you get the nod of approval, you can go to the nearest health center to access the vaccine. Again, the health centers are the official or designated COVID-19 vaccination sites. All 11 health centers, St Kitts, all 6 health centers in Nevis. Okay, so what's the vaccination process? So once you would have armed and empowered yourself with the facts and the information, we want you to make an informed decision to take this vaccine. So on the day you decide to go, make sure to dress appropriately, short sleeves or sleeveless, so that you can easily receive your intramuscular injection in your left or your right arm. When you go to the health center, the nurses are going to ask you to complete the pre-vaccination checklist. You would get your first dose, and then upon receipt of your first dose, you'll be given your COVID-19 vaccination record card. This is a very important document. We want you to keep it safe and secure, like you do all your other immunization records. After receiving the vaccine at the health center, it's recommended that you sit in the waiting lobby of the health center for 15 minutes, just to make sure there aren't any untoward reactions or allergic responses to this vaccine. So after 15 minutes, you are free to go. You'll be given an appointment to return in 10 weeks to get the second dose. Upon receipt of the second dose, your vaccination record card will be stamped, and that will be your official record of your COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, so at this time, there are 1 or 2 individuals who are experiencing the common cold with fever. We ask if you are in this category, we'll ask you, or we will recommend that you postpone vaccination until you would have recovered. If you're pregnant at this time, if you're breastfeeding, we also ask that you postpone vaccination. Now, the only 2 absolute contraindications to this vaccine are 1, if you're under 18 years, and 2, if you had or if you experienced a significant allergic reaction to the first dose. Those are the only 2 absolute contraindications to receiving this vaccine. The Ministry of Health would have developed a comprehensive communication strategy and plan, and the aim of which is to empower our people in terms of with the information, so that we can create the demand and acceptance of this vaccine. So what are some of the common post-vaccine symptoms? And so persons who would have received this vaccine locally would have described tenderness at the injection site, like I did in my left arm. So I received my vaccine a week ago, and there isn't any tenderness. My arm is quite fine. Some persons complained of feeling cold or chills on the evening after receiving the vaccine, and some describe even experiencing a mild fever relieved by just simple paracetamol or acetaminophen tablets. Feeling malaise, fatigue, some described body aches and pains, and some complained of just mild headache. So these are the most common post-vaccine symptoms being experienced locally. Okay, we at present, the Ministry of Health, we are hosting stakeholder meetings. We would have engaged and had educational talks with some of our stakeholders, and the aim of which is to empower our people, provide the facts so that our local individuals can make informed decisions and accept this vaccine. And so the Ministry of Health would have had sessions with immigration, customs, the various hotels, and public and private sector entities. So if there are any stakeholders in need of such a stakeholder meeting, simply call 311 and then we will facilitate same. The goal, our ultimate vaccination goal, is to vaccinate our adult population. Based on our last census, the number of persons between over age 18, constituted or made up 72.4% of our population. So that's our target population. While we vaccinate our people, we must continue the essential public health actions to suppress transmission and reduce mortality. And so the Ministry of Health, we continue active surveillance, looking out for persons who exhibit the signs and COVID signs and symptoms. We continue testing, and we continue advocating the COVID-19 prevention and control measures. Ladies and gentlemen, get the facts, choose the vax. Choose the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. So say yes to the vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, saying yes to the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine is saying yes to keeping our schools open. Our children need to go to school. We need our schools to remain open, and not even on a shift system. Our students want to experience school like they did a year, 2 years ago. So saying yes to the vaccine is saying yes to our schools remaining open. Saying yes to the vaccine is saying yes to church without limits. Choosing to take the vaccine is saying yes to funerals without limits. Choosing to take the vaccine is saying yes to football with spectators. Choosing to take the vaccine is saying yes to basketball and cricket with spectators. Here's a picture of some football lovers standing on cars, just, trying to get a glimpse of the match. We want everybody to go back into our stadiums. Saying yes to the vaccine is saying yes to events and parties without limits. Saying yes to the vaccine is saying yes to Carnival 2021.
That was Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws. Now, there were some countries that suspended the AstraZeneca vaccine or AstraZeneca vaccinations over blood clot fears. Thailand on Friday became the first Asian country to halt the use of the jab over safety concerns. However, the COVID vaccinations, no reason to stop using AstraZeneca jab, says World Health Organization. Countries should not stop using AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine over fears it causes blood clots, as there is no indication this is true, the World Health Organization has said. Bulgaria, Denmark, and Norway are among the countries that have paused its use. So even though there are countries that have stopped using the AstraZeneca vaccine because they are saying it is, they're claiming that it is causing blood clots, the World Health Organization says there is no indication to say that this is true. But on Friday, a World Health Organization spokeswoman said there was no link between the jab and an increased risk of developing a clot. Margaret Harris said it was an excellent vaccine and should continue to be used. We have our first call for this morning. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Hey, good morning, Devonne. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine, and you?
Oh, you're giving God thanks.
Awesome.
God has been good to me. I can't complain. I'm still celebrating my birthday.
Happy birthday.
When
was your birthday?
Sunday gone, you ain't even shout me at
Oh, Lord. Well,
I forgive you.
I was off on Sunday, so
I forgive you.
happy belated birthday, Mrs. Henry.
I know you would have bring something from Nevis for me. I forgive you. Lord, I love you.
Thank you.
Anyway, now I heard the same thing on Al Jazeera.
Yes.
Morning too.
Yes.
Even the countries were saying they cannot prove it.
They can't.
But what I would say, if you are a person who suffers with blood clots or blood problems, check your doctor or just don't bother yet.
Yes.
There are people who actually suffer with thrombosis and stuff like that. You know? So, cause, you know, once you know, cause I know there are people who have blood problems.
Yeah, I do.
Or whatever.
Yes.
All you know. Because they're going to check it out. Because, as I said, they cannot prove. Just like if you went up and something happened to you. Or you went and you died. Now, a little better news. I think either Cayman, Norfolk, and Caicos, one of those two countries this morning was saying that they have vaccinated over 90% of persons over 65. Did you hear that one?
90%?
And they're going to reduce their quarantine from 14 to 10 days. It was in the news this morning.
Okay.
So, I suppose all the people looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, I mean, as the vaccination process continues, eventually we will start to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, coming here over 90%, that's a
reduce.
boy. That is high, you know, because you're in the most vulnerable group. So,
yeah,
so know your condition, and as I said, if you have serious concern, check your doctor.
Yeah. Well, that is what they have been saying. If you're over the age of 80,
Even if you're not 80 and you know, because some people have poor health.
Yes. Check with your doctor first.
Check your doctor first. Somebody asked me, tell them, look, check your doctor. If your doctor say go, don't go.
Because
you could be 40.
I mean, I have received questions if people have been asking me, Mr. Cornelius, should I go and take the vaccine? I say, I don't know. Ask the doctor.
No, just tell them check your doctor.
Ask the doctor. Don't ask me. I don't know.
No, don't check the doctor because, you know, sometimes people looking for somebody to blame.
Yeah.
Somebody to blame. You know, but it is interesting. And even this thing about vaccine certificate, it is rearing its head. More and more he spoke about what was said. I think up to this morning, I don't remember which channel. They were talking about it.
I saw
Get into
something
some stadium,
from...
and they're talking about the Olympics. I think it is some Olympics. And they are saying that the athletes will have to show that they have been vaccinated.
But there's some athletes that are saying that they will not take the vaccine.
I mean that they will not be taking part.
Which is interesting. So they have to say, well, they have to balance between whether they're going to take the vaccine or just not participate in any sporting activities.
Because there's a question, I think they have been the one Carifta Games. I think it is planned for Bermuda, they were saying. Did you didn't hear it?
About what, sorry?
The Carifta Games, you know, the games
for
the Caribbean.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, I think it was in the news, I think, this morning, too. And I think they want to go to Bermuda. But then they were talking about it may clash with CXC. And again, the question of vaccine. So every corner you turn, it is there waiting for you.
So there's no way for you
as
to...
I said, you can't blame anybody. It's not compulsory whenever you decide yes or no. The final decision is yours, and so are the final consequences. Because there'll be action as a consequence. If hotel say you can't come back to work, you can't come back because they turn you away, you know. The Four Seasons decide that all those we are going to hire must walk with it.
But
and you decide you're not going.
But let me ask a question, Ms. Henry. Now, these are conversations that are being supposedly had, where they're saying that you have to vaccinate in order to continue working for a particular company, or in order for you to get this job, you have to show proof of vaccination. My question to those individuals who may be involved in such, are you prepared to sign a contract that says if Devonne Cornelius takes the vaccine because you are saying I have to take it or else I will be terminated, are you prepared
Terminated different to going to hire, you know.
whether it's termination
you
or
actually have
whether
the
it is
different scenarios.
termination
Just now talking about
or hiring the
people are going to
individual?
employ people.
Yes, but would the private company or are they willing or are they prepared rather
I didn't give it to
to
you.
sign a document that says, well, I will take care of all of the medical bills or expenses if Mr. Cornelius gets ill and he is unable to perform
You can't
his
win that
duties.
argument, you know, because first thing they will say they did not administer it to you.
But you're
They
saying,
did not
but you're saying
acquire-
that I
they
have to.
didn't- One, they didn't acquire the vaccine, number one.
Mm-hmm.
They did not put it into your arm.
So
Even though the conditions were that you must take it, you're still left with the decision, the choice to make.
So do
when
you think?
walk up
So
and
do you
take it,
think that you should be put in a position where you take the vaccine or lose your job, or not get a job?
maybe, maybe, you know, depending, look, let us say, if you got some serious outbreak, because remember that you know unvaccinated pose a threat to maybe the company's existence.
But
Your
but
business,
but
right?
this is not even about the company. This is your body. This is
Right.
your
Why you going to
your
work
health.
here?
This is your health, you know, because
Yes,
when you
but
take the
remember
vaccine,
also,
when you take the
while it is
vaccine,
your
the company ain't taking the vaccine, you know, it's you taking the vaccine.
the government who give you responsible, and look, the only person responsible for anything happen to you with the vaccine is the Ministry of Health. They have acquired it, they are administering it.
Who said it? Who said they're responsible? Did anybody sign any contract?
They acquire it. If they chose that one, you know. And they are the ones whose employees or agents, as we call them in law, are administering it. They alone are responsible. The company is concerned about its survival, its bottom line, and you who are not protected per se, you pose a threat.
But we have
don't see
we
so?
also have to factor in. Yes, you work for a private company, and in order for you to continue working there or to get a job there, you have to vaccinate. But it begs the question: you go and get vaccinated, and you have whatever issue, and you're now put in a position where you can't work. Who's going to look after you?
You want the government and Social Security.
Are they obligated to?
Of course, if they give it to you.
Who said they have to do that? Which
Hello,
contract? Which
a lot of
contract?
lawyers looking work, you know. You don't listen to the U.S. Only in St Kitts and these British countries they can advertise. In the U.S., if a pin dig you, and the pin this, look at these things you hear, these mass claims.
So
If you use Roundup and whatever.
well, Miss Henry, this is St Kitts and Nevis, and we know
What
we
you
know
mean?
the
all right.
reality
Here's another
is.
thing you could do.
Hold
Here's
on.
another route. This is another route.
The reality is that nobody would be taking the government to
Choice
task
is yours.
on
I mean, nobody take the government- the
a
government-
matter like that.
The government is being taken to court all the time. Maybe you don't know.
Of course, I know, but it
Well,
is
if they give
it is
you-
rare.
Listen, if I was in good health, right? Take, for example, this thing they're talking about with the blood clot. If I never suffered with it, now doctors are collude, right? So, and if I could prove that because of this I get blood clot, then I go sue them.
Are you financially prepared to sue them?
I tell you, lawyers looking work.
No, hold on.
Are
you financially prepared to sue them? That's the
You know
question.
what I say? The lawyers, you know, whenever a lawyer take that kind of claim, sometimes they say, "Oh no, thing up front," and when the claim settled, they get half. I mean, you got to face reality. Lawyers
Right.
out there looking work. The young fellas them stop misbehaving.
Right. Thank you so much for your input. We are winding down, so we're taking some more calls. We'll break at 12 for the midday news, and we will return at 12:30. You can call us at 466-0989-762 and 662. You are listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. We'll take just one more call. Just one more call on this topic. Very, very interesting discussion that we are having here today. So yes, there have been some, back and forth and some claims that the vaccine may be causing blood clots, but the World Health Organization has said that there is no reason to stop using the AstraZeneca jab, as there is no way to prove, there is no indication that that claim is true. And so the World Health Organization is advising people to go on out and get vaccinated. The World Health Organization is encouraging countries to continue the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Around 5 million Europeans have already received the AstraZeneca jab. There have been about 30 cases in Europe from embolic events or developing blood clots after the vaccine was administered. There were also reports that a 50-year-old man had died in Italy after developing deep vein thrombosis. And so there are a lot of mixed views and a lot of mixed information going around. You have to be able to differentiate between the fake news and what is accurate. But people are running away from this question. Companies are saying, look, in order for you to continue working here, you have to vaccinate. And talking about the survival of the company. But at the same time, it is your body. So I want us to understand that. It is your body. And so if you're going to say take the vaccine or else you won't be able to work here, or you would have to stop working here, are you prepared to pay my bills if I end up in a situation where I am unable to work because of significant side effects I could get from taking the vaccine? I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm just asking these relevant and important questions that I'm sure others have been asking. So we really have to be realistic with this thing. We really have to be realistic with this thing. You're forcing people to take the vaccine and trying to intimidate people. If you are guilty of doing such, you gotta stop it. Because are you prepared to sign something to say that you will be looking after them if they get sick? It's a very interesting conversation that we want to have. If we have no calls, we'll wrap up our program now for the headline news at 12, and we will return at 12:30 for the second half. We have just about 3 minutes left, so I think we may be able to take one last call. So caller, if you're listening, you have 3 minutes to call and put in your suggestion. Remember, we also have WhatsApp at 662-2204, and you can shoot us an email at devonne@winnmediaskn.com to be a part of our discussion. Let me say good morning or good afternoon, because it's about midday, to all of you, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of our program today. To all of you who joined us via social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Twitter, thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic lunch. To those of you out there on the front line, continue to play your part in keeping St Kitts and Nevis safe from this pandemic. We have been doing a fairly good job in managing the pandemic, and I want to be able to, walk through Basti and Charlestown as normal and not have to go back into a 24-hour lockdown. So let us continue to do what we have been doing and we will get back to that state of normalcy where we can have, as the CMO said, we can have parties without limits. We can have the sporting events without any limits. We can do what we were doing before without any limits. Continue to wear your mask. Remember, there is a fine now. If you don't wear your mask, you'll be charged $100. So please wear your face mask. Thank you so much for listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I was your host for this morning, Devonne, Cornelius. Stay tuned for the news. We will be back at 12:30 to wrap up our program. Thank you so much.
For an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV, connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD, plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Found the sound. 98.9. WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults. It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
The Federation has a new case of coronavirus, pushing the number of confirmed cases to 42, with 41 fully recovered and a person in isolation. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Laws made that disclosure at the Tuesday, March 10th press briefing organized by the National Emergency Operations Center.
This just underscores 41 cases would have recovered. We have 1 in isolation, so a total of 42 confirmed cases. And then you see the number of persons in quarantine at present, 386. We would have released over 5,800 persons from quarantine. That's from over the period of about a year.
The record shows 29 confirmed COVID-19 cases were reported on St. Kitts and 13 on Nevis over the past year. The last confirmed case in the Federation, number 41, was reported 24 days ago, according to Dr. Laws, who also provided an update on the COVID-19 situation in the Eastern Caribbean.
Antigua and Barbuda, 862 confirmed cases of COVID. Barbados, it's over 3,300. St. Lucia, over 3,900. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, over 1,600.
Continuing investigation, because investigation is still ongoing, will be limited in our policy at this time, because the investigation is still ongoing. So they will be in custody still, awaiting either to be remanded or to be bailed. Some persons have been charged for varying offenses regarding the firearm itself, and then we will have the importation aspect or the customs charges, customs offenses that will follow. Well, the investigation is ongoing. Okay. It's an ongoing investigation.
Superintendent David indicated that the police are unable to release the names of the individuals as the investigation is still ongoing. WINN has received reports that a customs officer and an employee of a well-known shipping company may be involved in the matter.
29 recently appointed COVID-19 task force compliance officers are now participating in on-the-job training, according to the chairman of the National COVID-19 Task Force, Mr. Abdias Samuel.
These 29 officers will be posted eventually to strengthen the corridor of containment, so they will work between the airport and the quarantine sites or the vacationing in place facilities. They will also be visiting the business places. So I'm asking the business to ensure that you are adhering to the guidance of the protocols.
Mr. Samuel disclosed that the compliance officers will soon be enforcing face mask rules.
Superintendent Henry would have spoken to the amended legislation for the wearing of face masks, and we are pursuing to have the tickets printed as soon as possible so that the compliance officers can enforce the regulation of wearing the face mask. So we are again appealing to citizens to wear your mask until we reach our threshold for herd immunity.
Chairman of the National COVID-19 Task Force, Mr. Abdias Samuel, speaking Tuesday evening, March 10th at the NEOC press briefing.
Police have confirmed that investigations into the disappearance of 3 men in separate incidents are still ongoing. Shalvin Marks of Virchals Heights was last seen leaving home on December 19th, 2019. He was wearing a black sweater and black sweatpants with a backpack on his back and a T-square in his hand. Jabal Henry of Upper Keyon was last seen on the night of January 31st, 2020, walking along the Kim Collins Highway wearing a black shirt and long black pants. David Lake of Connery was last seen by his caretaker on Sunday, August 16th, 2020, at about 4 p.m. He was also later seen that day at about 5 p.m. by his neighbor wearing a grey shirt and walking in the southern section of Connery. WINN contacted the superintendent of the Royal St Christopher and Nevis Police Force, Cromwell Henry, on Thursday to seek an update on the investigations.
The investigation is still open. We followed all the leads that we had, and so we haven't come to any conclusion yet. If anyone has information, we'll be happy to get new information that would assist us in pursuing the investigation. But the investigations are still open. No finality has been brought to them yet.
Has the police been conducting any search?
We've done that. We've done all that we could. We asked for the public's assistance. We've had searches in the areas where we were advised, where leads took us, and nothing that would assist the investigation. So we are waiting for new leads, and any new lead that we get, we will pursue.
Anyone with information on the missing men is asked to contact the nearest police station.
Police Superintendent Cromwell Henry reminded the public about the wearing of masks on Tuesday's NEOC briefing.
The COVID-19 Prevention and Control Act was recently amended in Parliament, and this amendment prescribed how face masks must be worn. We are seeing persons wearing their masks other than over their nose and mouth, but we know health officials have advised that, notwithstanding the vaccine, the wearing of the face mask in public is still an important COVID-19 prevention measure. And so the amendment to this act reads as follows. Notwithstanding the provisions of the Small Charges Act, and we know the Small Charges Act previously prohibited the wearing of face masks. Now this act is saying, in an effort to prevent the spread of the COVID-19, when in a public place, a person shall wear a face mask covering his or her nose, mouth, and chin.
And a public place is defined as?
The Act also defines public place, and it defines public place as, well, it includes indoors or outdoor area, whether privately or publicly owned, to which the public has access by right or by invitation, expressed or implied, whether by payment of money or not, including shopping centers, supermarkets, pharmacies, banks and utility departments, bars, drinking places and restaurants, hotels, schools and all other educational institutions, hospitals, whether publicly or privately owned, churches and other religious establishments, public transportation, community centers, government offices, public markets, and other places of or buildings of all types accessible to the public.
Police Superintendent Cromwell Henry. The fixed penalty for not wearing a face mask or not wearing a face mask properly in public places is EC $100.
I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe.
Meanwhile, local recording artist Du Jour joins the COVID-19 vaccination campaign in an effort to encourage the public to get the vax.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I'm Wendy Chateau reporting. Craig Brathwaite named West Indies cricket captain. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Friday, March 12, 2021. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. Craig Brathwaite has been named West Indies' new permanent Test captain in place of Jason Holder, following his success in leading them to a 2-0 victory in Bangladesh. Brathwaite, who has captained West Indies 7 times while standing in for Holder, will take the team into the 2-Test series against Sri Lanka, which begins on March 21. Roger Harper, the lead selector, said Brathwaite's role in the Bangladesh tour, where West Indies were without a number of first-choice players, had played a key part in making the change. Holder, 29, who is among the game's leading all-rounders with a Test batting average of 32.04 and a bowling return of 27.94, captained West Indies in 37 Tests since taking over in 2015 with 11 wins, 5 draws and 21 defeats. The mandatory quarantine period in Cayman will be reduced from 14 days to 10 days effective March 22. Premier Alden McLaughlin made the announcement Wednesday as Cayman reached its target of vaccinating 90% of the over 60 population. Premier Alden McLaughlin made the announcement Wednesday as Cayman reached its target of vaccinating 90% of the over 60 population. There are 5,000 people living in the Cayman Islands who are aged 60 or over. Travelers to the territory will continue to be required to provide a negative PCR result from a test taken within 72 hours of travel, as well as a negative result from a test taken at the airport upon arrival. Public Health England on Thursday said a new coronavirus had been identified in the UK in 2 people who had recently been in Antigua, adding that it shared the same traits of other variants but would not be categorized as concerning for now. The health authority said the variant was designated a variant under investigation on March 4 after 2 cases were found in the southeast of England in 2 persons who had recently traveled to Antigua. While scientists say that mutation in viruses are inevitable, COVID-19 variants of concern, such as those first identified in southeast England, South Africa, and Brazil, have worrisome changes that give the virus advantages, such as increased transmissibility or reducing the effectiveness of vaccines. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, the Commissioner for Crisis Management within the European Commission says £17 million in humanitarian aid is being donated to address the needs of the Caribbean's most vulnerable, which have been worsened by the pandemic. From the amount being donated, Haiti will receive $14 million to address extreme food insecurity, provide protection for migrants and victims of gang violence, and increase resilience to disasters. The EU estimates that 4.4 million people, or 40% of the Haitian population, will need humanitarian assistance in 2021. €3 million will go to the other islands to help with disaster preparedness and resilience interventions in at-risk communities. A Grenada government statement has announced that a public funeral for former Deputy Prime Minister Elvin Nimrod has been postponed to a date to be announced. No reason was given for the postponement of the funeral that was to take place Friday on the Ward Island of Carriacou. However, sources say the decision was because of what was described as a family contention. Round 3 of negotiations to finalize a temporary power-sharing arrangement of Tobago between the People's National Movement and the Progressive Democratic Patriots has begun, with the PDP insisting the Finance Secretary position must be one of those it holds. This was the position of PDP Deputy Leader Farley Augustine after the party met on the PNM's counter-proposal yesterday. The PDP made the power-sharing proposal on March 3 when all 12 assemblymen met with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley at the Magdalena Beach Grand and Golf Course to discuss a way forward following the 6-6 tie in the January THA elections. But on Wednesday, the PNM counter-proposed by offering the PDP the Deputy Chief Secretary and Deputy Presiding Officer positions. It also noted it intended to fill the Chief Secretary and Presiding Officer posts and 4 secretarial positions. However, the PNM said the PDP's request to have 2 councillors was not in keeping with the THA Act. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. Reporting this hour, I am Wendy Chateau.
President Biden gave a national address last night. He's directing states to make all Americans eligible for COVID-19 vaccinations by May. However, that doesn't mean everyone will get a shot by then. Biden says that everyone who wants to get an inoculation should be able to get in line for a vaccine by May. Saturday marks 1 year since police in Louisville, Kentucky, shot and killed Breonna Taylor during a botched raid on her apartment. From member station WFPL, Jess Clark reports protesters will gather to continue calls for justice.
Protesters plan to gather downtown to demand accountability for the officers who killed Taylor, a 26-year-old black emergency room technician. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron recommended charges against 1 officer, but for firing into a neighboring apartment. The 2 officers who shot Taylor aren't facing criminal charges. Louisville High School senior Naboo Diallo says Taylor deserves justice.
She was a person, and now she's gone because of them.
The protest is the first major demonstration planned since the fall and is drawing people from across the country. For NPR News, I'm Jess Clark in Louisville.
Stocks opened mixed this morning after closing at record highs on Thursday. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose about 140 points in early trading.
Stocks were higher overnight in Shanghai and Tokyo, but down in Paris and Frankfurt. The UK economy shrank in January as a result of both Brexit and new coronavirus restrictions. The Federal Reserve says a rising stock market in the U.S. added nearly $5 trillion to household wealth in the final months of 2020. Despite the economic pain caused by the pandemic, household wealth hit an all-time high last year, up $12 trillion from 2019. The Fed's report does not address how that wealth is divvied up around the country. Stock ownership is heavily concentrated among the wealthiest Americans, while last year's job losses fell hardest on low-income workers. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Coming up after the news on the BBC World Service, it's Hard Talk with me, Stephen Sacker. It seems Myanmar's military is prepared to kill as many pro-democracy protesters as it takes to safeguard its grip on power. So what options do the opponents of the coup have left? Well, my guest is Dr. Sasa, representative of the committee which represents the ousted parliament to the United Nations. Why has Myanmar's democratic transition gone so tragically wrong?
It's a very critical situation right now. We are at the crossroads. Now, if we do not restore democracy and the freedom, the situation will push us more closer to China, more closer to Russia, and also even more closer to North Korea, because we know that the military regime has a relationship with North Korea, DPRK, Kim Jong-un.
That's Dr. Sasa on Hard Talk after the news.
Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. The leaders of Australia, India, Japan and the United States are holding the first ever summit of the group known as the Quad. In his opening remarks, President Joe Biden said the US was committed to working with its allies.
We've launched an ambitious new joint partnership that is going to boost vaccine manufacturing and for the global benefit and strengthen vaccinations to benefit the entire Indo-Pacific.
The group of 4 democracies is widely seen as a strategic counterweight to China's growing influence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India said the alliance had come of age.
We will work together closer than ever before for advancing our shared values. Today's meeting shows that Quad had come of age.
The president of Mozambique has sacked the head of the army and the Air Force chief at a time of increased insecurity in the north of the country. In recent months, Islamist militants have seized towns and the humanitarian crisis in the gas-rich Cabo Delgado province is growing. The insurgency has displaced more than 500,000 people over the last year. Will Ross reports.
Although President Filipe Nyusi did not give an official reason for sacking the military chiefs, it's clear that the effort to stop the jihadists from terrorising the north of Mozambique is failing. There are reports of gruesome atrocities carried out by the militants known locally as Al-Shabaab. The BBC has spoken to people in the town of Palma who recently fled villages where they'd seen relatives killed and homes torched. They'd witnessed beheadings and abductions. Aid organisations are appealing for help for thousands of civilians who've become trapped in Palma after the militants blocked all roads to the town.
The Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz has complained the European Union is not distributing coronavirus vaccines fairly among member states. From Vienna, Bethany Bell.
Mr. Kurz said there had been what he called a bazaar for coronavirus vaccines in the EU, with indications that some countries were striking side deals with vaccine makers instead of leaving procurement to the European Commission as agreed. Mr. Kurz said the disparities were widening and he called for transparency. He said Malta, with 500,000 inhabitants, is due to get 3 times as much vaccine up to the end of June as Bulgaria, which has 7 million people.
The World Health Organization says there's no reason to stop the use of the coronavirus vaccine produced by AstraZeneca. The WHO's statement comes after Bulgaria and Thailand joined 3 Scandinavian countries in suspending inoculations with the vaccine. They were reacting to reports of blood clots in some people who'd received the shot, though there's no evidence of a link. World News from the BBC. About 30 male and female students are missing after being abducted from a college outside Kaduna City in northern Nigeria. Armoured vehicles and a helicopter have been deployed to try to rescue the abductees. The BBC's Isaac Khalid is monitoring the situation.
The gunmen in large numbers stormed the college on the outskirts of the city of Kaduna overnight. They opened fire and then kidnapped a number of students from their dormitories. What we have gathered from the authorities now is that about 30 students have not been accounted for, but around 180 are said to have been rescued, even though some information we have is that most of those actually escaped during the attack and then returned later.
Human Rights Watch has called for a criminal investigation into the role of the former president of the Gambia, Yahya Jammeh, in the killing of dozens of migrants in 2005. Recent testimony at the country's Truth Commission implicated him in the summary execution of 59 people from various West African countries. They had been trying to get to Europe by boat. They were arrested in the Gambia. The prominent Rwandan opposition figure, Paul Rusesabagina, says he won't appear at his trial again after saying he's not expecting the process to be fair. The man, portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about the Rwandan genocide, is accused of sponsoring deadly attacks carried out by the armed wing of his political party. British police have confirmed that a body found in a wood outside London is that of Sarah Everard, whose disappearance last week sparked an outcry about violence against women. A serving police officer has been arrested on suspicion of her kidnap and murder. The Metropolitan Police is being investigated over its handling of an earlier complaint of indecent exposure against the suspect. BBC News.
That was the WINN FM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribou.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
For an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening now. All 2018, 2019, and 2020 models gotta go. Yes. Come to Horsford's Automotive and get $10,000 off select 2020 models. That's right. Horsford's Automotive is making room for 2021 by offering $10,000 off select 2020 models. And that's not all. Come now and get 0% down payment. No payment until May 2021. $500 in free groceries, free servicing for 1 year, free bill of sale, free tinting, free registration, free accessories, and free licensing. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go clearance sale. The biggest clearance sale event of the year. Select 2020 vehicles, price to go. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I am your host, Devonne Cornelius. Good afternoon to all of you who have joined us again via Facebook and YouTube. Remember, we have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. The phone lines are open, so we are going to continue our discussion. Call us and give us your take as to how you feel about the topic we were on earlier. There have been reports of other countries suspending the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine. However, the World Health Organization has since said that there is no reason to stop using the vaccine, as there is no indication that the vaccine is linked to blood clots. And so that is the discussion that we were having earlier. Call us and give us your take on the happenings. A few persons were alarmed when they saw the reports. They were saying, oh my God, I took the vaccine. What's going to happen to me now? But there is no proof whatsoever that is linking the AstraZeneca vaccine to blood clots. However, some countries decided to go forward and suspend the use of the vaccine. The WHO, World Health Organization, has says that there is no reason to stop using the vaccine. If you're listening and you are interested in going to take the vaccine can be accessed at the health centers in St Kitts and Nevis, the 11 health centers on St Kitts, and the 6 health centers on Nevis. If you are over 80, you should go and consult with your doctor. Seek medical advice from your doctor. They are the best people to advise you whether or not to take the vaccine. So this is the much talked about topic where people are wondering if the vaccine is safe or not. Let us take this call. Good afternoon, caller. You are live. Oh, we seem to have lost that call. Caller, you can call us back. We have another call. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Awesome. Good to hear.
I think it was a strategic mistake to change the rollout procedures that were planned initially, right? Remember where they had the priorities set, and when they had somewhat of a captive audience, so to speak, like the first responders first, and the hotel workers,
Right.
etc. Because that would have given an appearance of order, and that they know what they're doing, and it was carefully thought out,
Yes.
And instead of now saying that anybody can just walk in, wash your foot and come, so to speak, right? And now it seems that part of the strategy is to make people feel like the sky is falling in, to give the impression that there's urgency, panic even. You better take it or else.
Yeah.
The threats and the arm twisting, that becomes self-defeating, right? Because, people would resist that, okay? If people have questions, they should have answered them, right? True, it might not have made any difference to their perception of the vaccine, but at least respond to people's questions.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
You probably saw the video of people who are skeptical or afraid of being jabbed, how they were reacting. The nurses didn't try to bully them into taking the vaccine. They calm them down and they console them, and that is what that should have been, I think, the approach of government to this, right? And it's not like yesteryear when we trusted government and they said it was good for us, so we took it, whether it was polio or whatever other smallpox or whatever other vaccine we took. It's not like that these days where people have so much access to information, okay? And just like what you pointed out just now with the where I think it's Norway and Denmark and Iceland,
yes,
who suspended using AstraZeneca. You know, we get that instantly. And so, of course, people are going to sit up and take notice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to be careful with the approach. Nowadays, people are skeptical about governments and their intentions.
Mm-hmm.
From experience, we know that the prime concern isn't so much the citizens, it's power, all right? And that is what they would normally respond to, right? I think people will eventually take the vaccine, right? We always say that we are 98% literate, and so true, that only means you can read and write. It doesn't mean that you can analyze and that sort of thing. But at least don't treat us as if you're just sheep and must just, you know,
well, you know, Mr.
lambs to the slaughter and just take this thing, you know, tell us. And you notice too, I find that the education part of it, the education rollout came after the fact. It was like they putting the cart before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
You don't start giving people vaccination and then start having town hall meetings and so on.
And if I may
explain this to them,
if I may add,
doesn't make sense.
If I may add, not to cut you off, some persons were saying, why is it that the education aspect of it came after the fact? Those concerns were raised.
Right, and it isn't to say that we were in the same place as other nations that were definitely desperate for some solution because their numbers were so bad. You know, we had wiggle room, we had roomed space, we had money. Mm-hmm. You know, we could have waited, you know, a month or two until, because this vaccine thing is still a work in progress.
Yes.
Every week is like you hear something, and so I think it was part of the rollout was because some countries, a lot of countries, as a matter of fact, were in a desperate position. They needed something fast to be able to reopen their economies and so on. I don't think that we were in the same situation, so we could have waited and then get the best vaccine for our people.
Yes.
Right? You know, we didn't have to just follow everybody else out there.
But you know, Mr. Right? McMahon, you said something very, very important there too. I believe that there is this people. It seems as if they want to, and when I say they, I'm speaking in general, not pointing to anybody in particular, but it seems as if they want to force the vaccine on you, and they're saying, well, if you don't take it, these are going to be the consequences.
Yeah,
they're going to make the consequences happen, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't like that.
And that, I think, is self-defeating, right? The other thing is that you notice there have been disclaimers and what do you call them, indemnity clause or something like that.
Yes.
Where the makers of these vaccines apparently not going to take responsibility if something bad happens, right? I mean, which pharmaceutical company does that these days? You know, they have to take responsibility for whatever they produce. And I'm sure you've heard of lawsuits, etc., and recalls, okay? And so that is a bit concerning, you know, to tell us, oh, they're 100% safe. But all you have is a little side effects. But at the same time, they have these clauses that basically absolves them of any responsibility if bad things happen.
Do you think that is fair?
Yeah.
Do you think that is right? Do you think, what is your take on that?
Well, my take on it is that these vaccine things were always certainly a big part of it was always a profit motive, okay? They're businesses. The people who develop these are businesses, okay? And they don't want their business to fold if it turns out that, I mean, look at how widespread they're going to be used. They don't want their business to fold if it turns out that they are not as effective as they were, or if there are side effects that are really terrible, right? And so that aspect of it, it's not just about the health. Yes, the World Health Organization, I think it's a UN body, or they're affiliated with the UN.
Yes.
They're concerned with health, okay? And so we should really listen to their edicts. But the people who develop these vaccines, not so much. We should be very careful with them. And like I said, a lot of this was out of desperation. They keep telling us, well, the technology has changed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When normally it would take a long time to develop these vaccines. They had to waive all of that, okay? And of course they're not going to tell you, although they can't give you something and tell you, well, we're not sure, but we think it's going to work, right? Mm-hmm. They're not going to do that. So of course they'll tell you that it's safe, all right? But make sure you put in that disclaimer clause in it. You know, that's well, it's expected. Put it that way.
Right.
That would have happened.
Right.
I mean, I am going to take it, right? And I suspect eventually most people, I think it's 70% we want to get to.
70,
are going to take it as well, because obviously to engage the world, you know, to maybe even to get a job, to fly, you're going to need to show some proof of being vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And as much as you say that, well, nobody's forcing you to take anything, I mean, if you can't get a job because you're not vaccinated, I don't know how much more force you want than that. You know? So it's kind of disingenuous for people to be saying that, well, nobody's forcing you to take it, right? And so, but like I said, you know, I do believe that people should go out and get vaccinated.
Yes.
I thought, because that we were, like I said, we were in a better place than most countries. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a desperate do or die for us, like immediately. And we could have waited until a few more kinks could have been worked out, if they are kinks, right? And people would have felt better knowing that we would have gotten the best, whether it's Pfizer or whatever else, or Johnson & Johnson or whatever other vaccine, okay? People would have felt better, I think, than, you know, having it seem as if, well, you better take this, you know, otherwise the sky going to fall tomorrow, you know? And remember, too, that it's a work in progress, and testing. You notice how all of a sudden, the testing part of it seemed to have faded into the background. It would have seemed more prudent to me to have to concentrate more on testing, because you see, if for instance, right, you got a test that was quick, accurate, it could foretell whether or not you're, what's the term they use now, for if you have it, but asymptomatic.
Yeah, asymptomatic,
right?
Yeah, sorry.
Right. If you had a test that can do all that, you would need a vaccine, you know. All you need at the airport, let's say, you test people. You do widespread testing in your country. At the airport, let's say, or at the ports, you do a test for anybody who comes in. If they have it, well, you isolate them, right? If they don't, then they go about their business as usual. You wouldn't have to quarantine anybody, because you can tell straight off whether or not they have it, whether they're asymptomatic, and you would not even need a vaccine, because remember, you have coronaviruses, SARS and MERS, here still, and we didn't vaccinate against them. It's just that they were controlled. But similarly, testing can control the virus. If I'm wrong, I'd like a doctor to tell me that. But if you had that kind of test, but the pharmaceuticals are not going to concentrate on that kind of test when they have produced all these vaccines. That's the profit motive. You got to make back your money on your investment in all of these vaccines, right? The testing come after, right? So there are a lot of aspects to this that, yes, we can analyze it to death, but right now the experts are telling us we must get vaccinated, and so I guess we have no choice but to listen to them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. McMahon, for your contribution. We are still taking your calls here on WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. I'm your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. We are still taking your calls. Call us at 4660989. We have another caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Oh, good afternoon, Devonne.
Good afternoon.
Hope you enjoy your lunch.
I did.
And stop stress yourself and let other people stress you. Our arguments have got to be logical. Why should we wait until we have a community spread to start to vaccinate? If you are listening to the news at lunchtime, BBC is saying 2 strains came out of Antigua. You heard it?
Oh, yes, I saw something on the internet.
It was in the midday news.
Yes.
2 persons that said who came from Antigua have this new variant, Antigua around the corner. I mean, you could swim from Antigua to St Kitts. I mean, we got to be logical. You prepare yourself beforehand.
Prevention is better than cure.
And last night I had on the television, and Dr. Figueroa, you heard about him?
No. Tell me
about
it.
There was some kind of panel discussion put on by the University of the West Indies, open campus, on television last night. And Dr. Figueroa, I forgot his first name. I know his brother, because his brother was the head of the economic department when I went to university. But he is the head epidemiologist. I don't know if it's in the Caribbean or whatever. And the topic was pandemics in history, something like that. And then he did the Caribbean, the different pandemics we had, the different epidemics. And he said that the COVID vaccine, the development started since 2003, he said. It was on the SARS, and just using the same thing. All they had to do was to do the genetic, whatever with the protein business. So they did not have to start from scratch. I wish you could have heard it. It might be on their, as I said, website or at the university. It was quite extensive. We went through all, even before BC and whatever, the different epidemics, and so they had the different plagues. And it came to the Caribbean, what we had, the role of vaccines and everything.
Right.
And so,
well, I'll definitely take a look when I get a chance.
Yeah, you should. It was quite instructive because, as I say, he's one of the lead ones in the Caribbean. Out of Mona, out of UWI. He's a Jamaican, of course. Figueroa is Jamaican. And last week, Friday, I think I told you about it, Dr. Patrick Martin, and the last caller should have known. Dr. Patrick Martin was on Joni Leiber's show. Something talk about in the ground with my brother, some story, this or so. And he gave an extensive, expansive talk on the vaccine, what is in it, what it is, what it does. But as usual, we don't want to hear from people. The people want to peddle. Because I'm now saying, Antigua trying to recover. You could imagine that the UK going to be ready for Antigua? Because they say it is an unknown variant. So I'm saying, well, where would that come from? Wouldn't they have taken it there? You know, so they're going for Antigua. You don't wait until the wind starts to blow to fix your roof. Whenever you hear hurricane season, they ever tell you wait until the hurricane starts to, when they reach Antigua?
You prepare before.
Months before. So I don't understand our illogical argument. And some of us are too inflexible. If they said these are the tranches or the order in which we're going to do it, based on what they had the 2,000 was right. Now, India gave them 20,000 more. It meant you had 10 times more. You would be able to vaccinate more people. And given the reluctance of people to take the vaccine, they know it wasn't going to be a rush. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to be a rush. So that at least for 10,000 people. If you get 20,000, that's 10,000 people. Up to now, it's only 5,000 something they have. So some of us, I don't know, we need pick. They change the thing. Anybody, a good planner will change. Mm-hmm. Maybe when you're working, expect when the plane coming, it will be full. And when it reaches, only half full. You have to be flexible to suit the occasion. And as for information, the Bible said there none so blind as he will not see. Jesus said, having eyes that see not. Everywhere you turn, every station, every channel, because we have cable. We have cable, we have phone. You hear? It's not a lack of information, you know. It's lack of paying attention to it. Oh, COVID again. What do you know about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
people
would say that. They say you talk about the COVID too much, and then they complain that, they're not receiving adequate
so when
information.
You hear them, just cancel them out. The people come on a Wednesday afternoon. They come on all kind of program. As I said, it was a whole show last night. And I hope people would look onto that thing and see if you could replay it, because they save the videos. Ask the university. I mean, we got an information overload. That is what we have now. Now, the people did not say they're dumping the thing, you know. These things happen, as you said, out of 5 million, 30 people. Of course, they did the right thing to suspend it so long. They didn't say they stop it, they cancel it, they throw away the vaccine. They didn't say that. They did the right thing. If something unusual happened here, whether it is related or not, you like maths, it's something we call correlation.
Mm-hmm.
In statistics, everything don't cause everything. There have to be a certain level of correlation. The wind blow don't make the rain come. You know? So they got to find out what actually is causing this thing, because even as the WHO say, there is no proof. The very countries say it. They cannot prove that the thrombosis is related to, but it turns up in people who have had the vaccine. So the best thing to do is to stop and check it out.
Yes.
That's a wise thing to do. So all these other questions that people asking and scenarios that they're drumming up in their head and just discouraging other people. As the person said, some of them done went already who are here talking, you know. They already went. And if they haven't gone, they're going to reach before you. So they will discourage you, and you're home, oh, I can't get a job, and you can't. As long as it's not going to kill you. And as I said before, you could listen to the news, the television. Every drug that is put out. You heard about this one with the Met?
The Met?
Yes.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so try the other day in court, you know. They tried the company who made these drugs, addictive painkillers. You don't know that?
No, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, you know, they have this pandemic in America. Americans, I don't know. They're supposed to go life good, and I don't know why the demand for drugs so high. You ever wonder about it? They want the most cocaine, the most ganja, the most crack. For a country that says it is the world leader, demand, it demand that drive supply, If they were to cut the demand, a lot of drug business will fail. But I think it's last week or so, the company that makes they charge them, they try them. So it isn't that if they make a vaccine and it is different, right? It causes harm. Put it that way. Any drug you listen to your television, they just come on. Call your lawyer if you use talcum powder from Johnson & Johnson for 30 or 10 years. So if they give us something, action can be taken. If it can't be taken, it can be taken overseas. And again, a lot of the decisions about the vaccine they use and the rollout is a joint decision. CARICOM. Dr. Harris is the lead person. Just like Dr. Douglas, he was the lead person on the HIV. St Kitts retained that portfolio in CARICOM.
Right, Ms. Henry, we have other callers. Thank you so much for your contribution. We are still taking your calls here on WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. We have a call. We seem to have lost that call. If we have no calls at the time, we will take a break to say thank you to our sponsors, and when we return, we will continue our program. Stay tuned to WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV, connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD, plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers are making lawn and garden easy. Come to Horseroads Building and Nevis Center now and get 25% off store-wide on our entire lawn and garden department. Yes! For the months of February and March, Horseroads Building Center and Nevis Center is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off all garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horseroads Building Center in St Kitts and Nevis. Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers, making home improvement easy.
We have some callers. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices.
Greetings. Give thanks for the sharing,
Yes, man, thanks.
When all is said and done there, we're going to take the vaccine, I'm going to take it. And when I take it, now take it. And you see this indirect compulsory, this round the corner, monkey screech compulsory. If you don't take it, you can't do that. You don't take it, you can't get the pain. You don't get it, you can't this and you can't that. That gun just repeating it, It's going to cause a bam bam, It's going to make people go more underground. And I hope the system can be hit. Because who now bow, And whatever the consequences is, as my brethren tell me yesterday, my brethren in Keys tell me, look out, Look out because, indirect compulsory. You don't have to take the vaccine, but we don't wish all who take it all the best, We wish you all the best. All who take it, we wish you all the best. We will not take it enough, we wish you all the best, too. Remember that. Otherwise, it's going to cause a terrible bam, not just in St Kitts and Nevis, globally. Blessed love.
Thank you, caller, for your input. We are still taking your calls here on WINN FM 98.9. We have no calls. Very interesting discussion that we are having about the vaccine. I mean, that is your responsibility. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Man, greetings and good afternoon, you know.
Yes, man.
Yeah, we're living in some things kind of Georgia. And you see, like how you were saying that if you take the vaccine and something happens to you, who can bear the responsibility?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's a very purposeful question. You know what I mean? Because responsibility is one thing, you know. I mean, authority is one thing, but the responsibility is another side of it. You know what I mean? And if you don't have the authority to mandate the people do something, you must be responsible for the outcome too, right? This thing in Europe, we see the people pull the vaccine. They stop administering the vaccine because of blood clotting.
Yes.
And that's the same vaccine we got out here.
Yeah, what they're saying is that there were reports that they stopped doing it because they received reports that there was an increase in blood clots after the administering of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. However, there is no indication that the vaccine is linked to the blood clots. So they can't prove that the vaccine is linked to the blood clots, but there was an increase. So they're just reporting that there was an increase.
So we just continue taking the vaccine until more blood clot come.
Well, I wouldn't say that because the vaccine, it is the report did not say that the vaccine caused blood clots. It's just saying that there was an increase in blood clots. So it did not say that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine caused it.
It didn't cause it neither, right?
Pardon?
It didn't say it didn't cause the blood clot.
No. But there is no indication that the vaccine is linked to the increase in the
Nobody
blood
can
clots.
be sure because they don't have those kind of facts. They don't have the kind of study.
Yes.
The kind of study wasn't done.
Yes, but the subsequently the World Health Organization issued a statement to encourage people to continue to take the vaccine because there is no indication that this vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine that we currently have here, is linked to the blood clots.
Yeah, but then we're saying at the same time, there's no indication that it didn't cause it neither.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like World Health Organization, to me, encouraging people to do these things, to go take the vaccine. When the people that follow World Health Organization, encouraging them to go take it, and something happened to them. World Health Organization have to look after them people there. You know what I mean? I mean, that's serious thing because the health, you know, the health is like that, you know. You understand? And the idea that a vaccine, right, would strengthen the immune system and all of these kind of foolishness, I mean, then it's madness, you know. A vaccine can weaken the immune system, you know that. Because the immune system is the body's self-defense. A mechanism that defends the body against everything. You know what I mean? And that they need minerals to build it up. The vaccine is a mineral. You know what I mean? The vaccine is only something that trick the body into making it believe that it's been under attack so you could put up the necessary antibodies. You know what I mean? So you look at a kind of emergency measure. Long term, you're supposed to be eating properly to strengthen the immune system. Now, you said that there's a new strain coming out of Antigua now.
Yeah, there's a new strain in Antigua.
It's different from the other two strains that I had, because I had one down in South Africa and one up in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So this is a new one, a third one.
Yes, it is.
So then, so I'm next vaccine they're going to make then. You understand? The immune system that must be the aim to strengthen the immune system. You know what I mean? Not just vaccine. Vaccine is just an emergency measure. You know what I mean? But in a long-term basis, you know what I mean? You must be providing citizens with healthy food. You know what I mean? It's food the body work with. It's food that the body needs. You know what I mean? Not more than the chemicals when. You know, and then, you know, people must take responsibility for themselves and for their life.
Well, that is what I've said, you know, personal responsibility.
Hello?
Yeah, it's a personal responsibility.
Natural. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is you have to look out for you. You see, and governments must really, you see, it's a mystic thing, and I don't really want to talk too much about the politics, you know, because we mystic when it comes on these things, you know, we love the party and all of these things. We love the minister, and nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But some of the time when you have governments who don't see allegiance to the people, which means they're loyalty, you know. Loyalty like somebody else. And that is a very hard thing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things to consider, you know, and we need to take responsibility for be life. You know what I mean? And we know that well the Constitution and the covenants when from the United Nations, they are given to different people and their way. And it's just so we to just learn them and know them, you know what I mean? And take over necessary action to correct certain measures the government take, because the government can take the measures and people too to take measures that is counteractive to that if these measures are too harsh or too invasive, you know what I mean, shutting down your rights, you know. You have the right to defend these things. You understand? With thanks.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for your input. It is 14 minutes past the hour of 1. We have another caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices.
Yes. One quick intervention. Remember that variants are popping up all the time. And a particular vaccine we take now may not be as effective against the variant. That is one other reason you should wait. And in preparing, you don't prepare for a hurricane and an earthquake the same way. That's a good way to describe it. Okay? So this idea of, well, prepare for the hurricane. Why would you prepare for a hurricane if an earthquake is coming? You prepare for an earthquake, right? So we don't want to end up taking no lot of vaccines, no cocktails of vaccinations as the variants come up, pop up. We take a fresh set of vaccination because the one we took was not as effective. That is a reason to wait till you get the best one that is active against all the variants so far. Okay, right? So that to me is the best answer for the question of why wait. You know, you prepare before. You got to know what you're preparing against. Okay. All right.
Thank you, caller, for your input. We are still taking your calls here on WINN FM's Voices for today, Friday, the 12th day of March. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. Remember, we have our WhatsApp number as well, which is 662-2204. We have another call. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, good afternoon.
You know, what we have seen is a lot of people is anti-vax, right? I think one of the basic things is that some folks do not understand the science behind vaccines. When someone can say, oh, let us wait until we get a vaccine that's going to take care of all of the variants, that's crazy. You're not going to have one, if you understand science and how it is, and you understand the viruses. If you're science trained, you would not say that. And one of the problems we have is that when people who is not science trained do not understand what's going on, and discourage people in a subtle way. I listen one you call and say, I'm going to take the vaccine, but at the same time discourage, oh, we can wait. Why wait for what? You know, the people who are trained to do these things, and just to let you know, the technology tools are used. Some people say, oh, it's too quick. It's been around since 2003. the mRNA, the trial that they're doing, all right? It's not a simple thing. Last night I listened to the program with Dr. I can't remember his name, the professor of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked about the AIDS, why we have nothing about the AIDS virus. And he was able to explain the difference between the COVID virus and the HIV virus. You know, one entered the nucleus, and he said that's a big problem. They're still working on it. You know, so we do not wait until you get one. That's people die. Not everybody gonna die. Okay, it depends on one. You other call said, look, strengthen your immune system, and I think that was one thing that the CMO and the team was saying: strengthen your immune system. You eat right, stay healthy, and so on. Because not everybody get COVID dies. The recovery rate is good if you look at the statistics, right? But for those who have problems, diabetes, etc., it's important that you prepare the body because you have shown that they are the ones likely to die because the immune system is not as strong. So let us not discourage people, right? Everybody is not compulsory. Everybody is not going to react to the vaccine as the thing. And we need to read the entire articles. They did not say the vaccine caused clots. Right. I mean, there's an disclaimer.
Yeah, they did not say
so
that.
let us suspend. And it's a particular batch, eh? It doesn't mean it is the same batch. When you're doing stuff, you know, you're manufacturing, and you can have a fault in one batch. But it does not mean all the batches that were done have some problem. So they're looking at this batch in particular. So, you know, people need to read more and listen more and try to get an understanding of, you know, how the vaccine works, what is vaccination all about. You know, so we should stop it. People should stop discouraging people in a subtle way. That's what they're doing. All right? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, caller, for your input. We are still taking your calls here on 1FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. I'm your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. A very interesting topic that we are discussing. We are taking your calls still on 466. I nearly said 469. I'm accustomed to a division, so forgive me. 466-0989-762 and 662. Also, we have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. If you are in the United Kingdom, you can call us at 033-344-0065. For USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. Or if you're in Canada, you can call us at 305-921-4619, or you can send us an email at devonne@winnmediaskn.com. It is 20 minutes past the hour of 1 here in our studios at WINN FM 98.9, and we are winding down to the 1:30 end time. Stay with us as we continue this discussion. So yes, it is not saying that the vaccine has caused blood clots, even though some persons have said so. However, the WHO is saying that there is no indication that it is linked to it. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm excellent. Thank God for life.
Good to hear.
Yeah, but you know, in the Virgin Islands, right? I made to understand because they were saying they bring out the vaccine to kill out black people, but I made to understand now that more white people taking the vaccination than black. You know? So, and what we like to see them do, when you're going to take the vaccination, they give you a picture ID with your name and everything to prove that you done vaccinate. And when you go anywhere, you should have card just look to show an ID. Because some people, them who complaining they ain't taking the vaccination, they still don't want to wear the mask. So people got to do something. And I don't believe that the vaccination doing nobody nothing. I don't think so. Maybe some people had a problem, you know, but I don't think it's doing things local people putting. It's people putting fear in people, you know. They need to stop some of these people talking this stupid, putting fear in people. All of a sudden, since this thing come up, the vaccination come out, everybody now is doctor. You got too much doctor now that misleading people and putting fear in people, and they need to stop because when people willing to go take this vaccination and they hear all these campaign and things what people saying, they're discouraging you. The vaccination ain't doing nobody nothing. People is who doing themselves something. If you go to the dentist and the dentist give you a deadening to deaden your teeth, the same scientists them go out there and study these things. It lasts in your mouth for certain hours and then it's going to come out. When you go catch child to the doctor and you get a shot, the doctor will tell you this child develop a fever, give it a child now. The vaccination might just give you a little fever, but it ain't doing nobody no harm. Look how people making it seem so. I mean, they need to just, people going to do harder. You have to do something with this thing because this thing ain't going nowhere. And when they're going to point fiction at the government, they're doing this and they're doing that. But them is who causing more harm to people. Some of them don't want to shout to your face. They don't want to wear the mask and they don't want to take the vaccination. And that's all I got to say. You have a blessed afternoon, okay?
You too. You take care. You have a good afternoon as well. And thank you so much for your contribution to our program. We are winding down. It is 22 minutes past the hour of 1. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices. Caller, good afternoon. You're live on Voices. Not over. We seem to have lost that call. You can call us back at 466-0989, 762 or 662. You can send us a comment via WhatsApp at 662-2204. We are still taking your calls. We'll just probably take about 2 more calls. We'll take 2 more calls and then we'll wrap up our program. We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes, man. Good afternoon, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I got a quick question for you. Is the borders in St Kitts and Nevis closed right now?
No, it's not. But when you come, you have to quarantine for 14 days.
Okay. With this new strain that's coming out of Antigua, are they going to close flights coming in from Antigua?
I am not sure. You would have to touch base with the Tourism Authority or the Ministry of Transport. They would be in a better position to answer that, but I would assume that they would be taking the necessary steps and measures and precautions to safeguard the Federation.
Okay, my take right now is being that a strain now is detected in the Caribbean, you know, a lot of conspiracy theories is going to start popping up again because, you know, like in the outer region outside of the Leeward Islands, you know, how come the strain ain't pop up in another area? You know what I'm saying? Why is it so deep into the Caribbean? You know, like Gaston Brown in Antigua, he got to be careful because he was one of the persons I think was rushing back to open his borders. And it was a rumor about him that he took the superior vaccine. They say he took the Pfizer vaccine while his citizens is taking the AstraZeneca. You know, that's like, I don't think that was a good move on his part, you know? And the Caribbean region, I think it's about time the Caribbean region get a little bit more together to fight this pandemic and not really having everybody kind of like on their own. I know one of your callers says it appears like some of the countries are moving like they're on their own, but they need some more togetherness, man, because now that the strain has popped up in the Caribbean region, they're going to need to target to try to crimp that strain down immediately, because if that strain spread in the Caribbean, trust me, well, it's going to be like wildfire, man. You're going to take out a lot of people. So I believe it's time that they either hold an emergency meeting or something, because this strain now popped up like that. They need some type of urgency. And I don't see why they don't include Cuba in the fight against, you know, this virus. Because Cuba is making some advancements right now. I think the Caribbean region need to come together and make it their concern to see how well Cuba can help them out, bro, rather than worrying about the outer world so much. We gotta worry about our region. Anyway, that's my take, man, and I wish everybody the best still, but all right?
Yeah. I know wish you the best too. Stay safe and continue to live out through this pandemic. We'll take one more call. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon, you're live.
I'd just like to correct something. So I said before, I called before. They did not say this train came out of Antigua. The persons from England or some part of the UK traveled to Antigua, and on their return, all right, they found this virus. Whether they went there with it before and returned to England, so it's not correct to say it came out of Antigua. That has not been confirmed. All right, so they're working on that. So at this moment, there is no confirmation that the variant which showed up on these persons who traveled from England to Antigua came out of Antigua. All right, thank you.
Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. Well, people interpret things differently. From how I would interpret that is that someone came in with the strain, and that's it. Somebody else would say, well, it originated from Antigua. Some would say somebody traveled from with the UK or whatever country, and they're now in Antigua with the strain. We'll be taking no more calls. We have reached the end time of our program. Thank you so much for the calls. Quite a few calls today. Thank you for your participation, and continue to stay safe. Continue to play your part in keeping St Kitts and Nevis safe from the COVID-19 pandemic, and continue to play your part in making sure that we get back to the road of normalcy. You were listening to WINN FM's 98.9 Voices with your host, Devonne Cornelius. Until next time, continue to stay safe, yes, and stay tuned to WINN FM 98.9. Have a fantastic Friday, everyone.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV, connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD, plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get